Very excited.
Can you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you and good evening. It is Tuesday, February 10th. We just came from executive session where we were discussing fire department lieutenant appointments. All right. Maybe I will do some things out of order, David. I think it probably is. What we'll do is we're going to save resolution 1 until after some of the items that people are here for.
Sure.
Sure. That's mine, right?
Yeah, you're right.
My fancy.
So we're going to move into resolution number 2, which is considering a request for an extension exemption of Chapter 158, Section 2.1 of the Village Code regarding a seasonal leaf blower ban for Arbors HOA.
Almost there. Arbors or Enclave first?
Oh, wait a second. You're right. I read the wrong one. Sorry.
The Enclave, right?
Sorry, Enclave. My bad. Sorry.
That's okay. I just want to make sure I was reading the right one.
Yeah.
So whereas in April of
Wait a second.
2023,
Is it? Yeah, you know what? On the resolution itself, it says Arbors.
I think you have to just update it, and I think that's
Okay.
correct. In April 2023, the Board of Trustees approved a local law establishing a seasonal gas-powered leaf blower ban from May 1st through September 30th. And whereas under the Village Code, properties of 5 acres or more can apply for a full or partial exemption of that law. And whereas an application has been submitted and distributed to the village for those for different properties, and whereas in April of '24, the Board of Trustees approved a request for an exemption enacting the seasonal leaf blower ban for the Enclave HOA, and whereas a 2-year exemption was granted by the Board of Trustees on October 1st, 2025, and whereas on January 16th, 2026, representatives of the Enclave HOA submitted an application for a further exemption of the requirements requiring the seasonal ban on gas-powered leaf blowers. Now therefore be resolved that after consideration of the intent of the local law as well as considerations raised in the application from representatives of the Enclave, the Village Board of Trustees hereby either denies, approves, or approves with conditions the request for an exemption of the Village Code, and it also could enact any conditions that the board sees fit.
All right, thank you, Chris. Again, with these, we hold off on any motion in second. And I apologize, I had an older version of the, it shows that I am looking things up ahead of time, though, that I'm reading.
Yes, that was
prior
good.
to
You were prepped.
prior to the meeting. And to be clear, this is Enclave.
Okay.
All right, and are you representing Enclave?
I am.
All right, please.
Good evening, Mayor Klein and members of the Board of Trustees. For the record, my name is David Gelfarb. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Moss and Kalish, PLLC in New York, and a 17-year former Rybrook resident. I represent the Enclave at Rybrook Homeowners Association. As you know, the association is applying pursuant to Village Code Section 158-2.1E for a second exemption from the village's May 1st through September 30th limitation on the use of gas-powered leaf blowers. With me tonight is Mr. Lee Freund, a member of the board and the treasurer of the association, as well as Mr. Roger Capucci, who is in charge of landscaping for the association. By way of background, the entire parcel of what is known as the Enclave encompasses approximately 15.5 acres. The development is located at the intersection of Anderson Hill Road and King Street. The main entrance, as you know, is on Anderson Hill Road. There is an emergency access road along King Street. Approximately 13 acres are located in Rybrook. The remaining 2.5 acres are in Greenwich. That portion is subject to a permanent conservation easement. The Enclave is not responsible for maintaining that area, and we will not be addressing it further. The portion of the development that is in Rybrook has 30 homes and extensive common areas, including unpaved grass areas, detention ponds, wetlands, and roadways. As you may know, the two primary roads in the Enclave are Carroll Court and David Lane. They are not dedicated to the village, and the development is responsible for maintaining them. The association provides landscaping services for all of the 30 homes as well as the common areas. The landscaping company for the development is Moreno Landscape Garden Designs Limited, which is based nearby in Mamaroneck. The company is known to the community as the Moreno Group. Mr. Capucci, who will be speaking to us shortly, is in charge of the work done at the Enclave. He is a senior manager of the Moreno Group. Mr. Capucci will be addressing the following issues: the work that his firm does at the Enclave, the machinery that his firm uses, the features of gas and electric-powered leaf blowers and landscaping equipment, charging and battery issues, the availability of electrical equipment, and cost issues. He will be answering whatever questions you may have. The Enclave continues to look forward to being as green and sustainable as is feasible. As part of its commitment, the Enclave has been reviewing the feasibility of and considering the use of electric push blowers, weed whackers, and push mowers. There has been consideration of use of the area at or around the entrance gate and the gatehouse for the charging of battery-operated equipment. The Enclave would like to propose that in exchange for a 2-year exemption, it will commit that for all 30 homes, it will use battery-powered equipment only on all driveways, walkways, and patios. By way of review, in April 2024, this board granted the Enclave a 2-year exemption from the new leaf blower law. The board granted the exemption on the condition that during the village's seasonal ban period, the Enclave would not use gas-powered leaf blowers around driveways, patios, and walkways. The Enclave requests that the board grant an additional 2-year exemption in exchange for maintaining the same condition. This will help reduce noise in the vicinity of homeowners and further the goals of the legislation. At the same time, it will allow traditional equipment to be used on areas such as roadways, fields, and detention basins, while the association and its landscaper continue to prepare to meet the challenges of the village's law. If the board has any questions, I would be pleased to try and answer them. If not, I would like to turn the podium over to Mr. Capucci. After he has finished speaking, I may ask Mr. Freund to address you. If the board has any questions for me after Mr. Capucci and Mr. Freund speak, I would be glad to address them. On behalf of the Enclave, thank you for your time and your consideration of this application. Come on up. Again, it's Roger Capucci, and he'll answer any questions you may have.
Hi, guys. So basically what we're doing at the Enclave is we're trying to keep it as clean as possible, and we're doing everything we can. We're doing best efforts with the electric-powered gas blowers by the homes, by the driveways, and all the common walkways. Just to give you a little example of how a blower works, the electric-powered blowers on full blast last about 10 minutes. When we do a cleanup at the Enclave, it takes us 3.5 days, the way that we're doing it now, with the electric mixed in with some limited gas blowers. If we were to remove gas blowers entirely, we would probably be at the Enclave for about 1.5 weeks. So this would actually add a lot of cost, I'd say probably 40 to 50% to the Enclave, and they really don't make a comparable electric blower compared to a gas blower. So I feel that we're doing the best we can with what we have, and the technology is just not there yet. When it is there, we will definitely use it, and we're happy to accept it. But a traditional gas blower is $400. The commercial grade electric blowers are like $4,000. So we're doing the best with what we have, but I feel that this, what we're asking for, is probably the best option for the Enclave.
All right, a couple questions, I think, from my end. First, more of a statement than anything else. I think when we first enacted this legislation, you know, one of the reasons we were giving 2 years exemption was so that it would give people time to make adjustments. Personally, I don't see us going for a 2-year exemption again, because you're essentially just asking for the same thing. So it doesn't actually show any progress. Certainly I would be in favor of, again, having a 1 year with the, assuming that the gas, same conditions as the last time of the gas power leaf blowers not being used around the driveways, patios, and walkways. I think that at least is showing, some commitment towards this. As a quick question, is your company doing business in other municipalities that have a full ban in effect?
Yes.
And how's that been?
A 40% markup on every single home that we're doing, and the clients have been unhappy, to say the least. We can't move the leaves. If it's a little wet, we can't do anything, and it's a serious challenge. So, we're taking rakes and trying to move some stuff so it doesn't look so dirty, but it is very difficult.
Questions or comments from the board?
Which communities are you working in that have this ban?
Larchmont has strictly can't use any blowers. Rye has stipulations where we can't use them in certain times, and both those are very difficult to maintain.
I was just going to say that I too would not be in favor of a 2-year extension. My feeling is that the end users are going to have to pressure the industry. And the more heat that you feel from us, the more likely it is that you'll put heat on the industry.
Understood.
Any other questions, comments from the board? Would we feel?
My only comment is that we have really reduced what we're providing to other vendors as a 1 year.
Understood.
So that's what we've moved to.
Yeah, and that's really what
So it
we've
should
been
be
doing across the
consistent.
board.
Understood.
This isn't, just in this case, if you look at the other ones that have come before us this year, it's been pretty much the same. It's unfortunate that the technology isn't advancing as quickly as we'd like it to.
Yeah.
I'm surprised about the 10 minutes. We've been hearing from some that they're getting, some manufacturers, it seems like they're getting almost 30, 40 minutes now out of some of them.
So at max throttle, it's 10, max 15 minutes.
So,
Yeah, they might be doing half throttle or something.
yeah, they
Yeah.
may be, who knows?
Trust me, we've
just-
we've exhausted all options. We've gone
Right.
to the expos. We've spoken with all of these people, manufacturers.
What brands do you have? I'm sorry.
Just a
One suggestion, maybe you guys have thought of this.
microphone.
Is there a landscape, Westchester County Landscapers Association?
Yes.
One of my frustrations is some of my constituents say, Village X, Y, and Z are doing complete bans and they're way ahead of us and I don't like the noise, I don't like the pollution. What are you guys doing? You're lagging, you're not, And we hear from earnest people like yourself
Right.
that I fully believe, and I look up the information, and some of the manufacturers make, wild claims, it seems, compared to what you practitioners are saying. If there's anything you guys can do as an industry to, maybe you're already doing it, so if you're doing it, you're doing it, but to try to educate some of these communities, and you probably do, but it would help us help you if I could say to other people, listen, I've just listened to 10 landscapers, done my own research, and it's not there yet,
Yeah. We're actually a bigger landscaping company, and when we go to these group meetings, if you will, a lot of the smaller companies can't afford to do what these electric companies were proposing just because it's so expensive. So that's where kind of the divide comes. And then you have the old timers who don't even believe in the electric opposed to gas, which complicates it again even further. So there's a lot that we need to kind of band together to fix. But, as you guys said, we're trying to as much as we can, as best we can, but we're not there yet. We're trying, but we're just not there as a whole group.
If there was a white paper, I know you guys don't write stuff like this necessarily,
Yeah.
but if there's a white paper that we could, because we have people telling us, look what Greenwich just did, look what White Plains is doing, how come you're not doing it? And I would love it if we could have, at least your version of the answer, which I'm hearing orally, but I'd love to see a little write-up.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
Maybe it'd be useful to you if you have to go to, any other villages too.
Noted.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Are we, I think, personally, like I said, I'm okay with a 1-year exemption with the same conditions as the last one that they received. If that's okay, then I would just need a motion and a second on that.
So moved.
Second.
Chris, you got that?
I do.
Do you need to read it?
Sure. So, now therefore, I'll just read the resolve clauses.
Yeah.
After consideration of the intent of the local law as well as considerations raised by the applicant from representatives of the Enclave HOA, the Village of Rybrook Board of Trustees hereby approves with conditions the request for the exemption of the village code enacting a seasonal leaf blower ban for the Enclave HOA, and be it further resolved that it includes the following conditions. Condition number 1 is that during the seasonal ban, no use of gas-powered leaf blowers shall be used around driveways, patios, and walkways. And condition number 2 is that the extension shall continue through September 30th, 2026.
All right, I think we have the motion in a second already.
You do.
Want to do that again? Or we have the motion? Okay. Okay.
Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Crom?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
And Mayor Klein.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
You.
All right, and on a similar note, resolution number 3, now I'll say it properly, now that I'm updated. Considering a request for an extension exemption of Chapter 158, Section 2.1 of the Village Code regarding a seasonal leaf blower ban for Arbors HOA.
Okay, I'm going to summarize a little more briefly because it's the same resolution with some modifications. Whereas the village board approved a local law in April of 2023, and the village code allows for requests for applicants to apply over 5 acres, if they have over 5 acres, for a full or partial extension or exemption. And whereas a request was for an exemption was issued back in November 14th, 2023 for the Arbors HOA, and whereas a 2-year exemption was granted by the board, and that expired on October 1st, 2025, and whereas on January 15th, 2026, representatives of the Arbors HOA submitted an application for a further exemption of the requirements of the local law requiring a seasonal ban on gas-powered leaf blowers. Now therefore be it resolved that after consideration of the intent of the local law as well as the application for the Arbors HOA, the Board of Trustees hereby denies, approves, or approves with conditions the request for an exemption of the village code, and be it further resolved that the approval may or may not have any conditions imposed by the village board.
Thank you, Chris. And as I mentioned before, this is something that we will wait until a decision's been made before we have a motion and second on. Mr. Goldfarb, I'm assuming you're representing the Arbors HOA as well?
Yes, good evening.
Same thing that you were going to say?
Similar. just,
Anything different?
No, but I do want it all on the record, though, if that's okay.
Okay.
We do need to make a record. Good evening, once again, Mayor Klein and members of the Board of Trustees. Once again, David Gelfarb. I am an attorney in New York, and I represent the Arbors Homeowners Association, Inc. As you know, the Arbors is also applying pursuant to Code Section 158 2.1E for a second exemption from the village's May 1st through September 30th limitation on the use of gas-powered leaf blowers. With me tonight are Mr. Dennis Nardone, the landscaper for the Arbors, and Mr. Nick Salzarulo, the property manager for the Arbors. By way of background, as I'm sure many of you know, the Arbors is an approximately 36-acre townhouse community of 250 homes and common areas. It is located off of King Street and is reached by Arbor Drive. These common areas include roadways, a clubhouse, tennis courts, paddle tennis, and detention basins. The landscaping company for the Arbors is Adam Landscaping, which is based here or nearby in Portchester. The owner of the company is Mr. Nardone, who's with us tonight. Mr. Nardone will be speaking about the following issues: the work he does for the Arbors, the machinery he uses, charging and battery issues that he can address, the availability of electric equipment, cost issues, and the features of gas and electric-powered leaf blowers and landscaping equipment. He will, of course, be happy to answer questions from you. Lastly, the Arbors looks forward to being as green and sustainable as is feasible. As part of that commitment, the Arbors entered into an electric charging station agreement in July 2024 with a company known as Green Gilet. Green Gilet was able to kind of take charge of 4 an area equal to 4 parking spaces in order to install its equipment, which is open to Arbors residents. The Arbors has more recently entered into an agreement with a unit owner for the installation of solar panel equipment on the rooftop of a residence. It has also entered into an agreement with a resident for the installation of electric vehicle charging equipment for their personal use. The Arbors would like to propose that in exchange for, yes, a 2-year exemption, it will commit that for all 250 homes, it will use battery-powered equipment only on all front walkways, driveways, decks, and patios. The Arbors will further commit that when its landscapers using lawn mowing equipment on the property, at least one such lawnmower will be battery-powered. In November 2023, this board was good enough to grant the Arbors a 2-year exemption from the leaf blower law. The board granted the exemption on the 2 conditions that I've just addressed, namely battery-powered equipment only on front walkways, driveways, decks, and patios, and it will always use at least one battery-powered lawnmower. The Arbors request that the board grant this 2-year exemption for maintaining these same conditions. This will help reduce noise in the vicinity of homeowners and further the goals of the legislation. It will also allow traditional equipment to be used on key areas such as roadways, fields, and detention basins, while the association and its landscaper prepare to meet the continuing challenges of this law. If the board has any questions or concerns or comments, I would be pleased to try and answer. If not, I would like to turn this over to Mr. Nardone. If there are any questions after Mr. Nardone is finished, I would be glad to address them. On behalf of the Arbors, thank you very, very much for your time and consideration. Dennis? Come on up.
Good evening.
I'd like to apologize for my appearance. I have a very, very new newborn at home, and I'm just trying to juggle all this.
Congratulations.
So I kind of just ran out of the house tonight.
Congratulations, and
Thank you.
apologize for
Yeah,
that. You probably
so,
aren't getting much sleep either.
No, but my wife is
What's wrong with your appearance?
no, I mean sweatpants and stuff. It just kind of rolled out, So I apologize, guys. So I want to save you the whole spiel about, what we do there. You're kind of familiar with what we do there. Since the last waiver that you guys have granted, we did go ahead and purchase a pretty significant amount of equipment for a company of my size. We purchased like a $25,000, $30,000 battery-powered lawnmower. We have 6 backpack blowers. We have hedge trimmers, chainsaws, weed whackers, all battery-powered. So we use them to the best ability that we can. During that time, 3 of the backpack blowers have been at CR Power in Portchester being repaired because there's just always something wrong with one of them. So, like to the previous gentleman, we're doing the best we can with what we have. The same thing that he had mentioned, we go out to the expos. I went out to Kentucky in October. Everything that he says is pretty accurate. We're getting 12 minutes to a turbocharged setting, which is what is needed on a property that size. For around the patios or for around the driveways, it's fine. More so, my concern is in the month of September, when the leaves start falling a little prematurely to keep the roadways free of the debris. That's where my bigger concern is. I'm not as concerned throughout the summer. We've fared the best that we can with that. But that's where my concern lies. The fields, they'll be a little messy. Everything else will be a little messy, but my bigger concern is with that, just, the safety of the roadways and everything. So I understand where you guys are with, the 2-year versus 1 year. I haven't seen anything that says anything is going to change from now until then, because it hasn't in the past 2 years, as far as the availability. So we're at your mercy. Whatever you guys are willing to give us, we'll try to do the best with it that we can.
Thank you. And I guess same question, are you doing business in other municipalities that have
Yeah,
a
White
full
Plains,
ban in place?
specifically in Mamaroneck, but it's not properties, for me personally, it's not properties of this size.
Okay,
It's more small commercial parking lots and residential homes, so it's not as much of a challenge. It's not the same challenge.
gotcha.
It's still a challenge. The customers are still not happy. The prices still have to change, but it's not the same level of safety concern that I have. And,
Right.
it's a little easier to manage the smaller properties than it is, the property the size of the Arbors. There's main roadways and stuff like that that we're not dealing with in the other municipalities.
And again, from my personal standpoint, I think the reason originally we were giving the 2-year exemptions was really because there were certain properties that were just asking for a straight exemption, and there were other properties that were willing to take steps. We were very happy to see, it was Enclave as well before us, and then Arbors HOA taking these steps to try and go a little bit beyond by committing to the walkways, the patios, stuff like that. And I think that's why originally we did the 2-year. And I think, for me personally, if I were to grant a 2-year, I would want to see similar advances. But I think I'm okay, keeping it at the current levels and doing the 1-year. But again, I open it up to any questions or comments from the board.
As you heard from me before,
Yes.
I am in favor of a 1-year extension. This seems to be an industry where there's no incentive to improve.
Yeah. Well, our hands are a little bit tied in the sense of we're only able to do what we're given.
No, I wasn't faulting
Yeah.
the user.
No.
I'm
Yeah.
faulting the sellers.
Yeah.
The manufacturers.
And the manufacturers are making the products, and, their claims are great on paper, but in the real world, they're not the same. If you go and purchase one of these units for yourself and you use it on a low setting, yeah, you'll get 30, 40 minutes out of it, and you'll clean your property, that's great. But when we're using it on a commercial level, it's not the same, it's just not. And I know you hear that over and over, but it's because it's the truth, it's just not the same.
Well, actually, I just want to say I commend you because it sounds like you purchased a lot more equipment than many of the other vendors that we have seen.
We did, and we did that at our own initiative that wasn't even, it hasn't affected the end user yet. I took that upon myself to do that. I'm kind of at my capacity with that financial burden, though, as far as continuing to invest into more battery-powered equipment without it, being a burden to them. So, that's just where we're at, and that's understandable, but I just wanted to let you know that.
Yeah.
And not to minimize this, but is it a matter of cost if you got 50% or some percentage, I shouldn't name a percentage, if you got enough percentage more, would you be able to do more labor and more,
If cost was not an issue,
If
the
cost was not an
infrastructure,
issue.
I believe, would be. I'm not an electrician, but from what I've been told, the amount of batteries and charging power that we would need, we don't have there. Everything would have to be changed. There would have to be a new power supply brought in. Batteries would have to be on charge constantly throughout the day.
okay, because, we've received letters from at least one resident that would like to see things go, let me say, further, and part of the argument was it's just a matter of cost, and there's at least 250, was there 250 homes there?
Yep.
And so spread around 250 homes. But maybe this is a question for, Attorney Gelfarb. Presumably, you're speaking for the HOA, so even though there might be a mixed opinion, the HOA board is very supportive, I assume, of this
Yes,
resolution,
well-
or is it a contention inside the HOA?
Well, I would say no. I'm directed, of course, like any attorney, by their client to argue the client's position. And this is the client's position. This is what the board has asked me to do. And so thus I'm here. It's terrific that, a citizen has issued her, given her opinion, and that's great. I would say a lot of what that citizen wrote, I just read this literally an hour or two ago, a lot of it really has to do with, your job in making broad laws. It doesn't really apply to the narrow issue which is before you today, which is the Arbor's request for an exemption. Should there be different laws, bigger laws, more narrowly construed laws, whatever, that's great. She should come in, I would say, and come in and at public comment, give her comments, give her opinions. But, today we're here on a narrow issue of, well, we are requesting an exemption, and we're requesting an exemption on such and such conditions. And to the extent that she feels that the nation is not doing as much as it should be, take it up at this level, take it up at the state, take it up at the federal government, petition, run for office, do whatever. But most of what she's saying really has not, in my view, a whole lot of bearing on what, why we are here tonight. And no, she does not speak for the, in any way, shape, or form, speak for the community as a whole. She speaks for herself, which is terrific. And, that's how I see it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I was going to mention that we did receive this letter today, and we certainly fully understand that this is a personal opinion, but we did want to acknowledge that the letter was sent.
I actually have a question for you guys, if you don't mind. Just out of curiosity, what would be something that would make you consider a 2-year exemption? Like, what kind of progress would you like to see from us or from the board? Just so we kind of know, like, what direction we can head in.
Yeah, I mean, from a personal standpoint, I would see, an expansion upon the use of certainly and I think, from my viewpoint, and I'm just talking about from my personal viewpoint, okay, so I can't speak for the board on this. But for me, this legislation is strictly about the blowers. Not as much about the mowers, really about that two-stroke engine, the one that is emitting.
It annoys me sometimes.
And
I get it.
and so, an expansion on what is being used, an expansion on electrification of, not necessarily, I mean, it's certainly great hearing about the fleet, and that it's more than just the blowers, that there's a mower, but to me, it would be further expansion upon that shows a significant commitment to what the intention of the legislation is. To me, that would say, oh, well, this is a leap forward in what we've been seeing. I can absolutely see doing a 2-year exemption on that.
In saying that, is there anything that you could think of that would kind of get us through this year with a promise of what we can continue to do and work on over the course of the next year? So like by the time we get to next year, we have something in place that would suffice for, you guys to feel comfortable with us moving into the following year if there's not enough of a bigger jump in the world of technology.
I would-
Okay, we'll purchase double the amount of batteries that we have, double the amount of chargers, or whatever the case is.
I don't think it's necessarily a purchasing of. I think it's more of to me, and again, this is just my personal opinion. I can't speak for everyone else. I'll let everyone else weigh in on this. But it would be an expansion of the areas being used, that maybe it's also the grass areas
Right.
that are, for the trimmings.
To your point of it's kind of all relative. The mowers that we use help reduce the amount of gas-powered blowers that we would have to use on the fields. We use a vacuum system. We use special blades that remulch the grass clippings and leave them there, so we don't have to go over and use gas-powered blowers. So there are other efforts that we're putting into place to reduce the other areas that we normally would in the past use gas blowers, and now we're not because we're investing into other things. So I know you're only concerned about the gas-powered blowers, but the other things that we're investing in are kind of tied into all that.
Right, so, yeah, Chris, go ahead.
Just a suggestion, and I'm not a policymaker, I'm the village administrator, so I have no vote in this. But maybe a consideration is, one of the biggest issues that the board wants to address is the issue of noise around, particularly
Right.
for residents, right?
Right.
So something you may want to consider is putting a ban on any gas-powered on a greater distance, maybe from the residents.
Right.
So this way, only electric is used within maybe a greater distance than what you do now from all the residential areas.
Right.
So that might be a consideration for the board to say, look, we're staying away from all the homeowners, for an example.
Well, that's the reason why I purchased that battery-powered lawnmower. We use that in all the fields and everything around the homes, so that reduces
So you ask,
the...
what else can you do? Maybe a greater distance. You show a map next time that
Yeah.
shows, look, we're here, we're going to move it out to here. That might be an example of something you could consider.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't think so.
I'm going to ask you a question. I have no idea if you can answer it. I was just asking the mayor, is this an issue outside of southern Westchester?
Southern Fairfield that I know of, I follow some companies on social media that seem like they're all dealing with this nationwide, I would say.
Yeah, I was just wondering, once we get past this immediate area, whether it's Connecticut or New York,
Right.
what about the rest of the United States?
I don't think this is a secluded issue. I think that everyone's dealing with the same challenge. overall.
Because I'm just trying to figure out why the manufacturers aren't facing some heat, because if more and more municipalities
Yeah.
start clamping down and saying, you know what, there'll be no
Well,
exceptions.
the thing about that, and I don't mean to go against the municipalities, but they have a different set of rules, right? The municipalities are allowed to use gas blowers, and they have more, I want to say they have a little bit more time and more flexibility with, if the battery dies, go back and charge it, we'll come back later and do it. We're kind of on a different time crunch in the private sector as opposed to the municipality.
No, I'm
And
just
I
wondering whether-
I used to work for a municipality, so I kind of know both sides of it.
I was
I'm
just
not trying to
speculating
trash
that
them.
as more municipalities nationwide.
Yeah.
Create the legislation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whether that will serve as a pitchfork in the butt of the manufacturers.
Sure, of course.
Just to tell you, I've managed properties from Dutchess down to here, and the farther north you go, the less restrictions they have. Okay, and number one, and I think what's happening is, and again, my farthest property north was Poughkeepsie, and my farthest property south was actually, I managed the Enclave back in the day, is we are putting the cart before the horse. We are requiring technology that's just not there in order to fulfill 100% what, you're looking to do, and that's an unfortunate thing. That's part of the problem too, because, Dennis is our landscaper, but I do not blindly go into things. I do my homework. And I spent quite a bit of time on this as far as trying to find something. Like, we use large gas blowers in the fields, and a lot of you might be familiar with that, where the walkway is, where the gas line is. They're huge fields. In order to have to blow them with at high power with 12 minutes, 15 minutes, and keep changing the batteries is very, very ineffective as far as cost-wise. But the problem being is, let's hope that the manufacturers will look at this, but again, look at what's going on with the car companies. They're all backing away from electric. Okay, what happens? Because we don't have the infrastructure for electric in Westchester County. So it's a difficult thing to do. And, as we go along, we'll do what we can, but there's a lot of dichotomies in the requirement versus what is actual. That's one of the big problems. Thank you.
The other big problem is if this was more regional, if it was a county or a state consistent from, consistency application would be a lot easier. It's very difficult for the landscapers because every municipality has different rules and different
Yeah,
times and
yeah.
different seasons. And that, I can't imagine how difficult that must be for the landscaping companies.
Well,
that
and two,
work,
you would have a pretty significant impact if you had to spend, say, I think Dennis mentioned to me 40% of it might be a 40% increase in your monthly landscaping. I mean, you're talking probably $600 a unit per month, per unit at 250 units. Because as you know, the arbors, that means leaves. And, we have a tremendous amount of that, and we have a very good tree company that keeps things going. All of this weather, we've not had one tree fall on us.
Knock on wood.
We're all doing that. Trustee Crum?
No, I was going to say, the pressure on us is for villages and whatever that have complete year-wide bans. So we're just talking about, we're not even talking about the leaf season. Like, if we were to tell you guys, hey, you have to use electric during the leaf season, what would you tell us?
Well, they fall during the summer too, and that's where we use them.
October,
Well, what's going to happen is, depending upon the cost to your voters, would depend upon
Right.
how they feel. I mean, if it becomes such an odorous type of thing, where do people bring it? They bring it to the ballot box.
right,
You know what I mean? So
yep,
there's a lot of different ways to look at it.
right. All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So again, my personal feeling is to continue with the one-year exemption is what we've been doing. And you can look back through all of the applications this year. All of our meetings are available online. You'll be able to see it if you look back.
Last year too, I think.
Yeah, and last year as well. So, I guess any
We're
further.
optimistic that something will change.
I know.
You'd like me to read the resolve clause?
Yeah.
Okay. So now therefore be resolved that the Arbor's request for a 1 year, the Arbor's request for an extension is approved for a 1 year period through September 30th, 2026, with the following two conditions. Number one, during the seasonal ban, no use of gas-powered leaf blowers shall be used around driveways, patios, and walkways. And, hold on one sec. Actually, I apologize. That no use of the battery-powered leaf blowers. Battery-powered leaf blowers should be used on the front walkways, driveways, decks, and patios in and around the 250 Arbor homes. And number two, that the Arbors will use at least one battery-powered lawnmower when using other mowing equipment on the HOA property. And that's, again, an exemption or extension through September 30th, 2026.
Okay, thank you, guys, I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Tim.
And one more thing, to your point, I don't have an answer. Okay, that's okay. You're not gonna tell me I'm not gonna be able to speak my mind, it's fine, I'm not saying anything negative. I appreciate what you were saying about different municipalities having different laws and different things, and it is a struggle for us, and I could only imagine it's a struggle for you guys to kind of adapt to that as well. So I appreciate you giving us the time, that's all I'd like to say.
Thank you.
And again, we commend what you
Yes.
have accomplished. It's more than most.
I was going to say, thank you very much for all that you're trying to do.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. And back to the question you had asked, I think, again, this is my opinion, but I think if you were to, be able to prove extensively how much you've reduced the gas power use, if you're saying, all right, year one, gas power, leaf blower, was, let's say in year zero, so right before the legislation, it was 100% gas power, leaf blowers. In year two, as we started to equip up, we reduced it by 10%, 20%. You're able to come here and say, look, we've reduced our gas power leaf blower usage by 70, 80%, then I'd absolutely, personally, I can't speak for everyone, be in favor of a longer term. That's really what I'm looking for. So on Chris's resolution, which is a 1 year with the same conditions, can I please have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second?
Okay. Did you get it? Okay.
Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Crom?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
And Mayor Klein.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. All right, let's go, let's go back to resolution number one.
Okay, now that,
All right, so hold on, let me get there, sorry. All right, so resolution number one, considering modification of the license and fee schedule for 2026 summer camps.
now therefore be resolved that the Village Board of Trustees hereby approves modifying the village license and fee schedule for summer camps effective immediately. And this was, the resolution modifies for the day camp program, increases by $65 for the week 5 and the week 6 fees. And also on the teen travel camp, it increases $180 per week for all the travel camp fees. And to be it further resolved that one additional trip per summer shall be added to the day camp program, and be it further resolved that one additional trip shall be added to the travel camp program. One is the day camp, the day camp is per summer, an additional, and the travel camp would be one additional trip per week.
Okay, so we never really got to have we have to make a decision on this tonight. We never really got to, oh, right, okay.
What?
Can I have a motion and a second, please?
It's just to open it?
Well, this isn't a public hearing, this
This
is,
is our discussion of voting on a resolution that we haven't discussed yet.
so we have to have a motion and second, then we
So
discuss it.
moved.
Second.
All right, so, we never really had a chance, we had this on as a discussion item a few times. We didn't have the whole board here. This is the first time we've really had the whole board here. Unfortunately, this pushes us into early February, where we really have to be able to advertise for the for the camps. And so that residents can, and non-residents, so that the public can start signing up for these. So I think before we really get into this, I think we do need to have this conversation. And again, this started because, we had kind of changed around a little bit the camp fee structure last year. And then, as we often do after any program, but especially after the summer camp program, we sent out a survey. We got responses, then we sent out a second survey asking specific questions. And that second survey was asking about the additional trips that people, that would come with an additional expense. And so, what we were hearing was, or actually, you know what? Why don't we do this? Chris,
Yes.
would you like to summarize
Yes.
the survey? And we do have our Superintendent Parker. Do you want to come up and talk a little bit about this as well?
Okay, so I'll start with the survey. So as the mayor just summarized, there was an additional survey based on feedback we received from the first survey, which was seeking additional consideration of additional trips, and also seeking consideration of the sixth graders being allowed to go join the travel camp. So I'll just give you the results of the survey. For the travel camp, 45% of the survey respondents indicated that they supported having an additional travel day camp trip per week, and we said, and we clearly said, an additional cost of up to $180 per week. And also 20% supported the current level of trips and keeping the current costs, and 25% had no opinion. The staff recommendations on that particular issue, and that's what's reflected on the resolution, is to add one trip per week and the $180 per week per camper to the fee schedule. On the day camps, the survey reported 51% supported adding an additional day camp trip at an additional cost of $65 per trip per camper, and 33% supported the current level of trips, and 16% had no opinion. The staff recommendation in this on the resolution is to add one trip for the summer and add $65 per camper to the fee schedule for those that sign up for either the 5 or 6 week program, because they would be the ones enjoying the additional trip. Regarding the sixth graders, there was some discussion at the last meeting. 73% supported either, on the survey, 73 supported either requiring or giving the parents the option of allowing the sixth graders to join the travel camp. 27% supported requiring the sixth graders to stay in the day camp. This is a very difficult decision, because we talked about this last time, and as the superintendent has talked about, there's different maturity levels and different exposure as a result of the age differences that can occur, and it gets it's a little bit harder to manage on the travel camps as well. And probably one of the things when we really examined it, one of the biggest concerns, if you add the sixth graders, there's limitations particularly on the coach buses, the coach bus trips, where they would have difficulty being able to. They might bump out some of the kids that are currently in the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th grades. So the sixth graders, if they signed up, could potentially bump those that, the travel camp program was really created for as a primary purpose. So the recommendation was not to include the sixth graders into the travel camp program. Some certainly would like it the other way, and have made good discussions about that. But I think overall, the village staff and its recommendations is trying to meet what we can operationally, given the parameters, but also given the feedback from the day camp. We always want to provide a program that people want to enjoy, and we try to manage that the most efficient, effective, and cost-effective way possible.
Thank you, Chris. Bert?
Chris pretty much summarized the conversations from the last meeting. As I mentioned in the last meeting, I'm very concerned about the different age groupings should the sixth graders move up to the travel camp. That's a very difficult age. They're dealing with a lot of things that they've never dealt with before. As I mentioned at the last meeting, I'm very concerned, so.
Could you talk a little about the bumping issue? Because I think that's also a very significant
Yeah.
piece of it.
Well, in past years, there's always been a waiting list for the camp, and in past years,
For the travel camp.
for the travel camp. So in past years, once the camp fills up, we would open up additional spots for what we can fit on the school buses. So we ordered 2 school buses because the school buses take less kids, and we ordered 1 coach bus. The coach bus fits 55 people on the bus, but 14 spots are taken by staff members. So that gives us a max of 40 in the camp. So that's where it gets a little hairy.
And in
So
terms of,
Ratio.
and in terms of numbers, we're talking about plus or minus 20 kids on average on a grade, on the 6th graders?
Right. All right. So, just we definitely want to open this up to conversation. And I think what I'd like to do is just have this potentially as 3 separate conversations. Okay. So I think to me the easiest seems to be the extra trip in the summer for the day camp. So if we can, because we're talking about 3 different questions, we're talking about a few different issues. So if we can maybe start with just, one of the questions was an additional camp trip for each summer, right?
Yep,
For the day camp.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So I would agree with it, but you're only charging those in weeks 5 and week 6. You have an additional cost for every camper that goes on that trip. So you have to me, because I didn't get what was being said there, that's not covering the cost.
So, and I think the difference is, and I think this is gonna be the question, because what's gonna become difficult in the pricing, I think, and I don't know, and maybe I'm just wrong with how people sign up, but people sign up for a certain number of weeks. So we're not just talking about the people signing up for 5 and 6 weeks. We're also talking about maybe someone that signs up for 2 weeks,
That could
but
potentially
is
be on that
there
trip.
on week 5 or 6? Is that when that extra trip would be? I'm just not sure.
Right, you don't know.
What we're talking about here.
Can I address that?
Yeah, please. No,
So
just-
there's, for people that sign up for the 6-week program, they're paying for 4 trips
Currently.
currently. People that sign up for 5 weeks, they're paying for 4 trips included currently in their tuition. People that sign up for 4 weeks are paying for 4 trips in the program. People that sign up for 3 weeks are paying for three trips in the program. So they're already paying. Anybody that signs up for less than 5 weeks is paying for that trip.
So as a question, if someone signed up for only 2 weeks, they're guaranteed to go on 2 trips?
No. It depends on which weeks they're signing up for.
Right, and I think this is where the problem lies for me personally, is because it seems like then, if yeah, and I think this is where I'm struggling with it, is just where is that trip being added and how does that affect? I mean, it almost has to be equal
Spread
across
out.
the, but yeah, it almost has to be spread out.
Because you won't know, because you don't,
If you spread it out, though, the reality is a lot of them won't have any additional trips because they're already going to get those trips, depending on which weeks they sign up for. They currently could be getting. If you sign up for 2, 3, and 4, and you're already going on trips 2, 3, and 4 on those weeks, on 2, 3, or 4 weeks, you're already getting those trips. You're not getting anything additional. It's only the ones that would be going for 5 and 6 that are guaranteed to have an extra trip. Is that correct?
Well, the people that sign for 5 weeks are not necessarily guaranteed that they're going to get 5 trips. Because
Because,
there's 1 week that's not getting a trip.
which is the first week, right?
Can't answer that
It's an
question right
unknown.
now.
So how do you
It's been
assess
last
it?
week, I know. I know.
And to that point, we were gonna also talk about percentages. So I don't want to just discuss trips. It's all part and parcel of our discussion.
All right, I'm just looking at the resolution really quickly, and it's for the day camp. And again, yeah, we did talk about, well, the percentages, the conversation we had about percentages was that we wanted the fees to represent us, essentially, I forget what the number was, it was like
95.
95%, covering approximately 95% of costs.
Right.
As far as the increases in the fees for this year, I think staff did an incredible job of estimating that last year. It came in, I think, at 93.5%.
Well, you added the two together, yeah, it was
Yeah,
like
but-
94, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Right.
the
So,
travel camp was,
however,
the
it
travel
came
camp
in-
was about
It did.
115%, and the day camp was a lesser, didn't hit the target, but on average it was,
Right, but,
Kids in
there.
the day camp.
But
they
the-
travel.
no, but on
it's
average,
also less
it came in
expensive, too.
exactly where we asked
And
them
there
to
is
come
a
in.
increase in the minimum wage this year, 50 cents per hour. So if you look at the wages, and I know that we overstaffed this year, but the
For the day
wages are,
camp.
for the day camp, they're going to go up. So you also have to think about that as
Well,
part
our
of
fees
your-
went up. The fees went up. If you look at the resolution, it is asking for an increase. Oh, I see, it's more so on the 5 and the 6.
it's to cover
Right,
the trips.
Right,
yeah.
that's not where,
We think that our estimate is that with less day camp staff this year, comparatively, if it was the same numbers as last year and we had we can get by with less day camp staff, that we'd be able to still meet the targets. Is that correct?
I believe so.
And on the travel camp side of it, we were already at 115, so we were already at a healthy percentage above our costs.
Right, and personally, I trust staff. I mean, they did a great job of estimating last year. I trust their projections that they're gonna hit our targets. And again, this was, and my personal feeling that we should be, my personal feeling is that we should be
Camp
keeping
went up
this
quite a bit.
affordable for our residents. And
it is affordable, and all camps are going up, just so you know, because of expenses and costs. And you know that when they go to get the buses and all of the camp trips, et cetera, they are all raising their rates this year. So I want to be mindful of that.
And again, I trust the staff to hit those targets.
But they can't hit a target. They're not going to say, we're not going on a trip if it's above a certain amount. We're going to do it anyway, and it's just going to drive the percentages. Everything is going up. Our wages for our village
They hit the
people,
percentage last year.
they
I
didn't
want
hit
to
it for
give
the
them
day
one
camp.
more, I want to give them one more year to see
No, but
whether
that's
they're
not what
hitting
we
it.
agreed to. We agreed to the percentage
Well,
of
the
the
percentages
5%.
that-
Hit the
No,
percentage.
they didn't. They
I have
hit
to say,
93, and it's
the
still at
percentages that-
31,000.
The percentage is a target. We were pretty close on
You were pretty
overall.
close, but we said we would strive for the 95%.
Yeah, and we did. We were at 93 and change. So, yeah. But I think that was pretty darn close.
It's darn close, and we had a lot of kids this year, so that was great. So that was good, but what I'm saying to you is that all costs are going up. I want to be mindful of that as we think about our rates. Everything goes up.
So what's proposed? I mean, we'll
Nothing
do
was
whatever the board
proposed.
wants. So
This
whatever,
was,
whatever the board would like to propose, we'll accommodate, of course.
So,
Personally, my feeling is with the day camp, and again, I want to get back to just trying to do this one at a time here. My personal feeling with the day camp, I'd like to see that more spread across the board.
Okay.
Instead of it just being on the 5 and 6 week. And again, it's because, I mean, if it's under the assumption that, again, it could be a 1 week, resident, someone who signs up for 1 week. I have my kids going to a partial sleepaway camp. I have
Yeah, yeah.
vacation planned for this other time. I need my kid in camp this week. This is the week. There may not have been a trip scheduled typically, but now there is.
Yep.
I mean, it's just trying
That
to.
case now, too. Think about it. There's less of a chance you'd be on a trip right now because there's only 4 of the 6 weeks.
Right.
So, and depending on which week you sign up, it's also
It's
hit and miss.
increasing their chance of being on
Yeah,
a.
that's
Right,
true.
That's why I'm saying I
So what would you like-
personally would like to see it spread more across all of the.
Okay.
I don't know.
What do you want to be?
Again, I'm
65
curious.
across the board? You could do it whatever you'd like.
That's probably the simplest way to do it,
What's that?
65 across the board.
Yeah.
Yeah,
what
because
you
there
wanna
will be an
accomplish.
extra trip, we're just doing 65 across the board.
On just the day camp, you're saying, right now?
You're
I know,
already,
we're
you're
not
already
supposed to
increasing the
back in.
travel camp. You're already increasing the travel camp.
Yeah, travel camp's
Well,
pretty good.
right now, we're
Yeah.
just talking.
That is fine.
That's fine,
Now we're just
the
talking,
day camp. All right, so
So plus 65 on all the rates?
Well, but
or do we just do plus 40 on all the rate? I mean, it's,
the difficulty
scale?
is that $65, let's say, on 2,100 is about a 3% increase.
right.
You add $65 on a $400 thing, you're talking about a substantial increase.
Yeah,
All on how you want to look at it.
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah.
Well, how about a proposal, 3% on all the fees, and then just keep the 65 in weeks 5 and 6 as proposed? So everybody gets a
3% on the
3%.
lower.
Which, by the way, 3%, if you're at 93%, 3% helps you get closer to 95, number one. Number two, 50 cents is about 3%. That's another way to look at the minimum wage thing, assuming the labor doesn't change, and it might. So, and 3% is very comparable to wage inflation.
All right,
Right.
and
In general.
we'll have to, the one thing I want to avoid are just the crazy numbers, so we may have to just,
And round to the nearest 50.
Yeah, we'll round up to the nearest 5.
to the nearest 5.
We'll round up to the next one.
Round up to the nearest 5.
Whatever, sure.
I mean, it just,
Yeah.
otherwise, it's like, all right, your camp was 400, your camp was 525 last year, now it's, I don't know what 3% is, but let's just say 540, 250.
Well, like 400 would go to 415.
And also because the survey that was
Yeah.
done last year showed that our camp was very affordable compared to other similar camps. Now, maybe, I know it's very hard to judge them exactly, but, and also it helps. I think it's always better to increase 3% every year than, all of a sudden you're
Big
doing 6 or
jumps.
7 or whatever. yeah.
So on the day camp, the current discussion is 3% on anyone who signs up for weeks 1 through 4, rounded up to the nearest $5, and on 5 and 6 to leave it as recommended.
As the
So
65.
they're going up 3% also.
As the
Well, on
65.
2,100, it's
Well, on,
3%.
but at the $65.
Question whether you want to have it just be 65 or
I'm-
3% plus 65.
No. I think just the I think that's fine, because the 65 will be a little bit more than 3%, but it's,
But the 3% is just the inflation and wages, and the trip is not being covered.
it is.
No, the 3% is the wages and costs.
No, but the added 65 that was originally proposed was covering that extra trip. We're just we just increased our fees over that. Originally, it was just 65.
in addition to?
If you look at the resolution, it was just, and I think we have to stop saying if you sign up for week 1 through 4, it's if you sign up for 1 through 4 weeks. Because you can pick and choose what weeks
Okay.
you're signing
Fair
up
enough,
for.
fair enough.
But I think, and again, this is, originally what was proposed was just a $65 increase on week 5 and 6. This, we're kind of making it a little bit fairer across the board, but also keeping our costs in mind, our rising costs in mind. So I think I'm good with that 3% if you sign up for 1 through 4 weeks, and then keeping it at the $65 for week 5 and 6, which was the original proposed, which is a little bit more than the 3% in most of them.
Forgive me for introducing the 3% concept, but understand that $65 on 1250 is 5%.
Right, and it is a little bit more.
So basically, it's a question of what
Sliding
we
scale.
decide is an appropriate percentage increase for weeks 1 through 4.
Well, I think that, I mean, personally, I like that 3% idea because, again, that's what Don is saying, or sorry, Trustee Crum is saying about, the increased costs, and it's probably covering it, and that we're not then sitting 2 years from now saying, sorry, you were, if it was $400 a week, now you're paying $450, $475, something like that, that this keeps it going, a little bit smoother.
So,
In that
just to
regard.
give you the percentages, so if you
Yeah.
did what you're recommending, the 5 and 6 weeks going straight down, you see there's 5 changes on the underlined?
Yeah.
So it's 4.8%, 4.3%, 3%, 5.2%, and 4.4%.
And I'm fine with those being over the 3% personally, because as was done in the original calculations, it's probably more likely that those are the people that are actually going to see the.
Look at the
extra.
biggest benefit,
Yeah,
most likely.
most likely.
Yeah, it's not perfect, but it's a
Something.
I don't think there is perfect. I don't think perfect exists.
All right, let's try it and see how it goes this year. We're gonna find out, right?
So Chris,
Yes.
on the
Right there again.
3%, we'd be rounding up, never down.
Correct, we're only rounding up to the
Nearest
nearest
five.
5.
No, so like on 1,200, it would actually be 1,236, so we'd round it to 1,240.
Because we don't want that.
Rounding up to the
odd-
nearest 5, yep.
Otherwise, it becomes just an odd. I mean, how
Yeah.
do you even
no,
advertise
I
that?
just
They're
wanna make
like,
sure I got it
where are
right."
these nut jobs coming up with their numbers?
All right,
All right.
let's move
Does
forward.
that sound acceptable?
Yes.
Well,
On day camp.
All right. All right, so moving on from day camp. All right.
Take a vote on that one, just by itself?
no.
Well, we're just going over, try to do one
You
shot.
can, that's
We
up to the
can, I mean, we
board.
can see, I mean,
I
I
would
think,
prefer to discuss them all and then vote,
Okay.
if that's all
That's
possible.
where he was
Sorry
going.
about
Okay,
that.
sorry.
What's the next discussion?
is the travel
Travel.
camp.
Okay.
All right, so now travel camp. This, we're talking about an additional trip per week. This to me gets a little bit, I mean, this one I have some issues with. Because you're talking about major increases now. I mean, yes, you're getting more for that. And certainly that, but I mean, if you're signing up, for 1 week, if you're a resident and you're signing up for 1 week, it's still $180 over, I mean, what's that percentage?
Everyone
All right,
is
who's
getting
my
the same,
percentages?
everyone is getting the same increase because
Yeah.
they're going on an extra trip
Right, every week.
every week.
Right,
So everyone is deriving the same benefit and getting the same increase.
right.
So
But I
it's
mean,
actually
I'm
equitable.
worried about losing kids from the program when it's jumping, I mean, let's just say,
Oh, somebody would like to speak.
when it's jumping $1,000 or more. Please. Thank you for coming tonight.
Sorry to point out, but she was raising her
No, no.
hand.
Ladies a teacher, ladies a mom, okay. So thank you guys for having me. I will say, as a recipient, my twins went to the travel camp last year. They loved it. I did a lot of research on looking at other town camps, travel camps they offer. And we're at this stage, my friends and I, where the kids might not want to go back to sleepaway camp. They want to stay with their friends here. I don't think the cost was very exorbitant for what they did. I had spoken to Ben and Bird and Rock and stuff and about like certain trips like that didn't work. It was just the place. And I think in the survey we even asked, I feel that parents would pay the extra amount for those trips. So, for example, I had a lot of parent friends of mine, and I living here, teaching here, they were like, oh my God, they were at this site it was a game truck for an hour, and the rest of the time they were just there. There's really nothing them to do with them in high school. We would gladly pay that extra cost to have them go Lake Compounds or Dave & Buster's or whatever it is. I don't think in this town you're going to get that. I really, really don't. You have a wait list. People want to do the travel camp, which is why I'm here, because Scarsdale, Rye Y, and Chappaqua, town of Newcastle, all allow rising sixth graders to go. And if you look at the survey, it was 73%. What were the numbers that wanted it?
I can tell you in a sec.
Yeah.
Or choice.
73% was either requiring or given the option.
Right. So I have to be honest, being that all the other towns in the area that offer a travel camp are allowing the sixth graders, these kids are middle school. They're very savvy. I teach these kids, they are more worldly than you can ever imagine. They have phones, they have watches, and having my 8th grade twins, 9th grade, it's a very small insular town. We don't have, I could tell you in the school, the bullying and all of these things. It's a really lovely place for the most part. So I think when we're talking about all these issues, I've never seen it. Yes, there could be, would be, should it. I didn't see a single thing of that last summer. So I'm really hoping, and that maybe could help the cost by having more these kids at the travel camp where it's more money for them. And I have to say, being at the day camp last year, working there, the kids were bored in 5th grade. My son, one of them, there's nothing for them to do by that point. They're texting their parents to pick them up halfway through the day. Yeah, it's true. I heard it from many parents. They were picking up their kids. They're like, my kid's bored. They're done. They've been going there since they were entering kindergarten. I don't know what I'm going to do with my son, to be quite honest, if there is no rising 6th grader, because him and his friends do not want to go back to the day camp. They're done, which is what the survey, but the travel camp might have been an option for them, which is why I think you had the results you did. And I do think with the cost, you would get it. I think you'd still have a wait list. I think parents really love the travel camp. You guys do an incredible job with it. You keep the kids safe. And again, these are very well-traveled kids. These kids are traveling internationally. Yes, I know they're going with their parents, but they also, as I said, they have phones. They're really independent. I watch them every day walk home from school on their own. Nobody's picking these kids up in 5th grade. It's pretty remarkable, actually, how independent these kids are. So I really hope we could consider them going to the travel camp, and I really do not think the cost is exorbitant to the point that people are not going to send their kids up in this town if we look at what's being offered nearby.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there would be enough 6th graders that want to go on and have a separate bus for them and the 7th, maybe combining the 6th
I
and the 7th
thought about that.
graders?
What are the numbers that we have to have, I
So
guess?
is there a way that we can accomplish if we had this, could we get a list?
I think this
Yeah.
is more of a question for Bert.
Bert.
Oh,
Okay.
all right,
I-
well, because she's
But I'm just
tapped
saying,
into that age group.
right, I know that if I've spoken to people and they're like, oh, if my kids can do the travel, I would do it. I'm not opposed to that, but the day camp, again, is not working for, 10, 11-year-olds to sit at a camp. Again, we talked about the constraints of lack of the pool and lack of activities there. And again, they do an incredible job. Rock and them are amazing, but we're limited at the park, and we've spoken about that as well. So I really think this offers a viable solution. That being said, I don't know what the numbers would look like. I don't, of course, want to bump out. I have kids on the other end, but I'm hoping there's a way we could get everybody involved, because, as I said, I know that other towns all allow the entering 6th graders, so,
Thank you,
okay.
thank you. Bert, if you don't mind. Just a couple quick questions. So do we have a wait list on travel?
There has been a wait list in the past. It fills up pretty quick. So there's a wait list. As soon as we post this, it'll probably be filled in less than a month.
Okay. How big of a wait list do we typically get?
I think we got an extra 10 kids last year that were permitted to go on the non-coach trips.
Gotcha, on
For
the
certain weeks.
school bus trips.
Correct.
And on the school bus, on the coach bus, they hold how many? 40? 40?
The coach bus, we can fit 40.
So you would have, so you would, 40 kids and
40 kids
14.
plus staff, yeah.
So the problem with the coach bus is if we added another coach bus, that's another 50,
It's a lot
54?
of money.
54, and we only have 20 potential kids that could join, so we're going to have a largely empty bus. Remember, coach buses are the most expensive.
They are the most expensive.
The
All right,
school
so
buses
I
are a
wanna-
lot.
so
School buses are a lot
I
less.
want to
but-
hold off on the 6th grade conversation.
Okay.
All right. Let's talk about the travel camp fee increases. So right now, if we look at the resolution, it essentially, so the number that we added, is that based off of the school bus trip, off of the coach bus trip? Is it
That would be.
a blended rate?
That would be an additional, I think, it's kind of blended, but But that would allow us to go on 1 or 2 more coach trips.
Okay, so it wouldn't be necessarily, so
Not
this-
per
It would be
week.
plus one, but it'd be one trip a week.
Right.
it would be an extra
Additional trip.
It would be an additional trip per week, but it may vary on what that trip
Correct,
is and
correct.
whether it necessitates a school bus
Correct,
or
correct.
or a coach bus.
Last year, we went on 3 coach trips. I think this would allow us to go on 4, possibly 5.
And the rest were all school bus trips.
Correct. And as she mentioned, we were in the park for a few days last year, so.
All right, well, all right,
But this would take that away because you'd be doing every day a trip, other than maybe part of a day that they wouldn't be there.
Rain out or something.
Well,
whatever.
So,
just a quick thought, and I'm just throwing this out there. I'm still developing in my head, and I
Well,
apologize.
I'd like to correct a typo, though.
All right, correct the typo.
On this, the 3-week non-resident, you show 2656. It should be 2665.
Okay.
2656 should be what?
2665.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's the addition of the amount that we would be adding. All right,
Yeah.
okay.
so all right.
I'm gaining us $9.
All right, well, maybe it is. All right, I think, yeah. All right, well, let's talk about the teen travel camp. How does everyone feel with the fee increase?
It's covering the additional costs.
Of course.
That's what they're proposing. All of the survey said that the kids wanted to go on additional trips. Your goal is to cover your costs and to make the kids happy. This is a way to accomplish it.
All right, so we're good with the fee structure as it's laid out in the resolution.
The one caveat on that, I should have to say, is that's based on not having the sixth graders
Right,
on the trip.
right.
Because if you
We know.
did,
Everything changes.
things could change in
Right, it
terms of
could
the number
increase
of
the cost
buses.
because you would have to get
You'd have-
2
You'd
buses.
have to get another bus, and you also, probably we'd have a little more staff. We'd want to be comfortable, we want to be comfortable with the
All right.
additional staff.
Right.
I
so
want to
maybe-
move on to the sixth grade conversation.
So we go with these fees if they, without the.
No, we
6 fees.
can't do it because we may have, in order
So
to
I wanna
accommodate
move
the
on to the-
other people, you may have additional costs. So you have to think about
And
that
if we
before you
don't do the
vote on
sixth
it.
graders, this structure is good.
So.
Right.
Okay.
All right, so we know that this program's popular. We know that it fills up.
Because it's so cost effective for the parents
We-
and the kids love it.
We also know that we're going to have a bigger problem with the wait list if we allow sixth graders. Now, the reason we have the wait list,
The wait list is on when there's coach trips, just to be clear.
just when there's coach
Yeah, 'cause
trips.
the buses, there's usually
There's
some
a
extra room.
max of 40 for the program.
Right.
No, coach bus.
No, period.
Oh, okay.
So across the board,
Explain to me how this works.
so we have on Community Pass, we set our limits at 40. Once 41 comes, they go to a wait list automatic.
And that's because of the busing.
Yeah.
But how do you fill off of the wait list?
As we get closer,
People
To
can't
camp.
make it.
and we know that no one's dropping out, we send a note out to all the people that are on the wait list saying, if you're still interested in joining the travel camp, you can join, but you are not permitted to go on the coach bus trips. If there's a coach bus trip in that week, you're not permitted on that trip because there's no space on the bus.
And do people do that?
And are we charging them the same fee?
It's the same fee. It's the same fee.
Okay. And there's only 3 coach bus trips a year, maybe 4.
Dude, correct.
And we don't have problems with the school bus?
No.
Okay. My concern, and I think it does, all right, there's multiple concerns. When we had this as a discussion item, my original thought was, when my children were in 6th grade, they were on the high school bus, going to school, because that's what we are in the school district. In the Blindbrook School District, it is a 6th, 7th, 8th middle school. And so the 6th graders were on the buses with seniors.
Most of the seniors don't go on the bus.
I know, but-
Or the 11th graders.
but
But
they were on,
to be clear, they will be when the school starts. When the school starts, they will be.
they will be, right? They haven't been yet because they're rising 6th graders. Right. So they're rising. So that does it. Now, the other concern is clearly the numbers. That if we allow the 6th graders, we know we're losing them from the day, we know we're losing them from the day camp. We know that we are now going to further limit. So just to throw something out there. I think, my initial impression would be to keep it as it is because I tend to side with what staff recommends. I think they're the ones dealing with it on an everyday basis. They're the ones that see this day in and day out during the summer. If I were to consider personally the 6th graders joining the travel camp, the way that I would see it is that it becomes automatic wait list. That it becomes optional for 6th graders. They could go either way, and it becomes automatic wait list.
Do we have any statistics on how many 6th graders there are?
I think we heard just about
Yeah,
20.
It's plus or minus 20. Last couple of
think we
years,
would
it's
get
been
more.
either 16 or 22, something like that.
They
No,
went
and the
to
reason I say that,
You're not going to get a second bus in that instance.
Yeah, you won't have.
I'm
no-
not getting a
no choice
second
but-
bus. That's extremely expensive,
Right, you
and
get
it's
first
only
one.
3 trips out of the summer. 3, maybe 4 trips out of the summer, whereas the 6th graders would then be part of every other trip.
And increasing the numbers on
That would
both
be-
buses.
On what's already 2 buses.
It's already 2 buses, it's 1 bus.
Is it 1 bus for the school bus?
2 school buses.
2 school buses.
And you fill those school buses?
No, there's.
No, that's why they'd
That's
be
why
able to
we
go on
open
the
up
school
wait list.
buses.
So they would be able to go.
That's why I'm saying what I'm saying, that I think it would be, then you're not bumping kids you're not bumping the older kids from the coach bus trips.
So you're saying allow them in on the coach bus, not the school bus trips, but not the coach bus trips?
Unless there's room.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Unless there's
Thank
room
you,
on
because
the
I
waiting
didn't
list.
follow that.
Yeah.
And the older kids have
Well, like I
priority.
said, I'm
Did
still
you follow
working.
Right?
that?
So, so,
That's what's being
again,
discussed.
but again, that's, to me, again, my gut instinct,
But that also takes
Is
them away from the longer
to
trips,
say-
which is also,
I know what they're, but if there's only 3 or 4 for the year,
right,
if there's only 3 or 4 for the summer,
Rach has a comment.
then you're, oh, one second, I want to discuss this more on the board.
I am totally confused now. No, but I'm being serious. Let me explain. I thought one of the big issues as far as the staff's concern about integrating 6th graders, rising 6th graders, with the others was the maturity level of the students.
Correct.
And now all I'm hearing is the discussion of whether we can cram X number of people into buses. Which is the issue?
And I think they're both issues.
But one has nothing to do with the other.
You're right.
They're two
One
separate
has
issues.
nothing to do with the
I have a
other.
question, if
I
I
could
can
clarify
ask
the
her.
staff's
Yep.
recommendations if you like.
Please, Chris.
I have a question of
Hold
the
on.
age of the kids. What are the age of the oldest kid? Are there really 12th graders that are in the travel camp?
No, it's rising, so it's rising 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th.
There are
Correct.
10th graders?
There are some 10th graders that,
How many?
once they turn 16, they're not eligible.
So it's
to join.
15-year-olds
15-year-olds with to-be 13-year-olds.
with to be 11 or 12-year-olds. A 6th grader, please, can you please hold off? Thank you.
6th grader would be 11.
A 6th grader would be
11
11.
going to be 12.
going to be 12.
But they are going to middle school. It does.
But they're fifth graders.
No, a sixth
They're
grader
graduating
a
fifth
sixth grader would
graders.
be 10 going to be 11.
No, a sixth grade, no, 10.
They're
age
rising,
10
which
is
means
fourth
they
grade.
have,
All right,
have
fourth
not
hold
yet.
on,
grade
let me
is
go
10.
backwards.
They
'Cause
will
fourth
be,
grade is
they will be
10-year-olds,
sixth
no?
graders
So
in
my
September.
younger one is on the younger side in his grade.
And what grade is he in?
So he is in 7th,
So he is 12 now.
12 now.
Right.
So he would have been 10.
That's what
10th
I said. It
graders.
would be 10 or 11
I was,
for sixth
He would have been
graders.
10 turning 11. So he would have been still 10 years old on a bus with a 15-year-old. So please. I know you have opinions. We need to discuss this here.
They weren't kids going to 10th. I thought it was the last age was kids going to 9th.
Right, so,
No, 10th.
so,
We go up to 10th. As, up to age 16. You could be in 10th grade as long as you're not 16.
I still say I graduated at 16.
yeah, well, yeah. We're not basing this on you,
we
David.
really have to think about the
You're-
age group and what the
Yeah.
age of the kids. And the truth is, remember how many people responded that they were okay with their kids being with
Right.
these. So it's really the issue
So,
of.
Chris, can you talk to the
staff.
staff concern, please?
Sure. Yeah, the staff's recommendation is not to include, because of the maturity issue, not to include the rising sixth graders into the travel camp. However, because we have to follow the board's policy, if the board makes the policy decision that you choose, you want to allow that, we just raised that there will be a problem on the coach buses because there is a limitation on the number of people we can fit on those coach buses. So that would be an issue. Our concern was if that was allowed, you don't want to bump the older kids.
Right. So that would be a policy.
I must tell you, I don't have a dog in this fight.
And then you got to get staff to, right?
But this is a really small community. And I would think the parents and the kids know each other. The grades are very small. I grew up on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. The grades were like 700 kids. So if you had rising sixth graders mingling with rising 10th graders, there's a good chance they would have absolutely no idea who those kids were. It's extremely unlikely in this village where the kids won't know each other. So I don't see the likelihood of it being really sort of being picked on and stuff like that. But that's me. I might be 100% wrong, Bert. You have experience with this. I have none.
Quick question.
And I think
When does
Rob
registration
mentioned
start?
Rob did mention at the last meeting, we have had incidents of those types of situations, and we've had to have people leave the program for that issue.
Yeah, as I said, I have no idea.
I
It
don't,
just-
I'm not experiencing this either, so.
It's just hard for me to.
There's
conceive.
been
Do you want to talk to this, please?
There's been at least one or two kids each summer that have been asked to leave camp for behavioral issues. Like I mentioned to you at the last meeting, there's a, if we bring the sixth graders up, we're talking about possibly 11 through 15-year-olds. That's a tough age. I mean, they're all maturing at different levels. They're going through changes with their bodies. The fifth and sixth grader, or the fifth graders that are now going to be sixth graders, have never been in camp since. Well, they were mixed with the girls in the group in kindergarten and first grade. After that, the boys and girls are separate. So now you're mixing boys and girls in the same group at a middle school level. I mean, I have a lot of concerns.
But shouldn't that be a parental issue? A parental decision?
Yeah, but
In a little bit,
There's bullying that goes on. I'm concerned about. There's name calling.
But that happens now and they're not there.
I think that happens with the fifth graders now.
Right, okay. Please.
Greg?
Might as well let her up.
Don't
So
get
this
involved.
way-
All right,
Okay,
and last comment, please.
Okay. Well, first of all, it's a really small town camp. The girls are sitting here and the boys are sitting here at the day camp. So like, they're not totally separate. This isn't like a boy-girl sleepaway camp. Like, they're still having lunch together. You know what I'm saying? It's not like they've never seen each other's gender. This is a super small town camp. So at day camp, they are near each other. But that being said, the fifth graders, in my opinion, when I'm there, are causing more problems for the little guys, for the kindergarten or first graders than they would be anywhere else, because they're bored, they're not doing anything, and they're with these 4-year-olds. And think about it, if they go back to the day camp, you have 4-year-olds. Remember, they're entering kindergarten with 11-year-olds. My own twins will be entering 9th, and my son's entering 6th. They're always together. This is a really, really tiny town. And I know a lot of other people that are similar cases. So they're used to each other. As a teacher in the school many years, I've never seen it like, oh, they're bullying each other. They're really used to each other in this town, and I think it's a lot better than having a 4-year-old and an 11-year-old in the same camp. They're doing a bubble show on Fridays. The 10-year-olds are texting each other, I want to go home. They're doing a clown on a Friday. They're texting each other, I want to go home. They're doing cartwheel races.
I think talking about the quality of the day camp is not something we're
No,
talking about
it's not
right now.
quality. No, I'm just saying, I think those kids have aged out, and that's why other camps, other towns like Scarsdale and North Castle and all these towns offer the travel camp for 6th grade, because I do think, yes, there's a maturity curve. I get it, my own son, but I also feel they could have that opportunity that other towns give, and if parents are willing in the survey, the 73%, to do it and pay for it, why not open it? I understand the coach bus reservation, if that's the compromise, but if we have room on the buses and these parents want it, I don't understand why we can't try it. Okay, I'm done. I won't make more comments. I actually want to think. Sorry, out-of-town residents. Sorry, out-of-town people that want to pay. I actually know quite a few people that are willing to pay that live in their homes. We offer that, yes? Does that bring in more revenue?
We have a
fees are higher.
different non-resident fee.
Right, so I'm just saying, for this circumstance, and even not all towns have this, so when I tell my friends that in White Plains and others about this, they 100% would sign up. So I don't know if that will bring revenue, but I also know other people would be interested that don't live here. Okay, I'm done.
And for the record, I do not know that lady. I just want to say that.
Was that hot, Mike? Moment?
Who was that masked man?
No, I want to say, because you're agreeing with what I have been espousing, and I want it said on the record that I do not know who you are. But thank you.
All right. Comments from the board, Trustee Croft?
A question, are we talking about making it optional for the rising 6th graders so they can go to either camp if
I
they're...
think that's something that we would need to decide. So, that's something that's part of this conversation.
Right.
That, and again, I look at this from multiple viewpoints. Where I absolutely see what's being said by staff and the age differential at a much more mature age than what we have in the day camp. I also look at it from yes, there's absolutely interaction on the buses. I knew that with both of my kids. I think, and I think what we really have to try and do is we first have to figure out what we think is the right decision. Okay, based off of what we heard in the survey, based off of what we're hearing from staff, but also keeping a lot of these other factors in mind. Again, this could be a trial period. We could say something like, it's optional for 6th graders, but there's a max number of weeks that they can sign up for. It could be that it's optional for 6th graders, but it goes straight to the wait list, like I had said. It could be that we say, you know what, this isn't the year we want to try 6th graders.
That's what I'm saying. That's
Sorry,
exactly
go ahead.
right.
No, please.
No, that's exactly what I'm saying. It came up, Chris was saying it's about 3 weeks ago. I don't think we have enough information. I don't think we're ready to make that decision, to have these rising 5th graders go.
What kind of information would you need, Mr.
Well,
Moreno?
we're getting conflict in information from two different people. it's bullying, is it not bullying, is it fair, is it right, the cost, how much more is it gonna cost us, there's a lot to consider.
There's a lot to consider, but the
How will
cost
it
is not
affect
the
day
issue.
camp?
It
The
may affect the
busing,
day
the-
camp.
the-
You're going to have
everything, all
less
these
people going
things.
to the day camp because you're taking out a grade. But remember, they moved sixth graders used to be in the elementary school, and they moved them to the middle school and they have found that it helps them mature faster and it's better for them. It's a school issue, it's a different thing. What I would propose here is, we're not worried about if we get less people at our day camp because the hires are fluid. Would you say that that's accurate? At this point, it's a fluid thing. You
It
could,
is.
so that should not be a consideration. We're going to hire people no matter what. And depending on the numbers of who's in what camp. The issue is, I didn't realize we have 4-year-olds going with 11-year-olds. That is a 7-year span. That is massive. Talk about the maturity of a 4-year-old versus an 11-year-old.
That is in a
Well, they're
contained
split into
environment.
different groups.
The
And it's a
4-year-olds
contained
are
environment.
nowhere near the,
Yeah,
not
they're-
in
nowhere
a
near the
park,
11s.
you know,
Right,
yeah.
they're in the park, but they're still together eating underneath that
Yeah, but they're split
thing.
into different groups and they're not going on, I mean, it's apples and oranges.
Okay, so when we, and I
Hold
don't
on,
know.
hold on. Do you mind because I don't think trustee Morlino was able to finish what he was saying.
I'm finished, I'm
Okay.
finished.
Okay, when they go to the parks, do they get split up with counselors in a group by age, or how do you divide it, by friends?
They're
Which camp are you
separated,
talking
I'm
about
travel
here?
camp, I'm not concerned with day camp.
Okay,
they're just separated into groups. There's no rhyme or reason how they're separated.
You don't,
By
really?
age or?
Not necessarily, but the counselors just take a certain amount of kids with them, so
so the kids are self-selecting their groups?
somewhat.
So that would be by age, generally,
Yeah,
and friends.
Yeah.
Friends.
So there's less chance of, so the bullying really would take part on the
Bus.
bus?
Potentially,
Potentially.
when they're bored.
Okay, so that was my question, so,
Right.
okay.
All right, trustee Heiser?
I think that each parent has to know, isn't the level of maturity of his or her own child. And they're going to be rising sixth graders who you say there's no way this child is ready for a travel camp.
Right.
And there are going to be rising sixth graders where you go, oh yeah, he was ready last year, or she was ready last year. And I really think that if we can work it out from a bus standpoint, we really should empower the parents to make the decision.
So have both.
Trustee Crum?
So have them both.
Yeah, no, given the surveys, given the letters that I've seen written to the board, there's been several letters, people supporting the rising sixth graders. Given the testimony today by someone that's come to the meeting, I hate to disagree with staff, but staff sounds like they could make it work. I think the issue of waiting list is a bit of a misnomer. I'd be in favor of letting the rising sixth graders sign up to go on the school buses, not even to have an option to be on the coach bus, just because of the availability, and try it this year. Look, in another 2 months, they're all going to be together. This is going to jumpstart that process, and I think the staff has shown that they're willing to weed out the bullies if there's bullying going on, and, those bullies get kicked out.
All right, so right now what I'm hearing from the board, it sounds like the board would be in favor of having it be optional sixth grade participation in travel camp,
So in other words, others can go to day camp if they opt to.
if they opt to. That's what it sounds like I'm hearing from the board. Now, again, one of my concerns is, we've had students that have been going to this for years. And I don't want them to get harmed by this decision. And so, again, I definitely feel like, a ninth grader, a rising ninth grader, 10th grader shouldn't get bumped from a coach bus trip because of an added group coming in. It sounds like we probably have room on the school buses for them to participate in those trips.
We usually do. We usually do.
I guess,
Do we have to?
how do we?
Do we have to
Yeah,
have
no,
travel
please,
camp?
Chris, please.
Just to
Chris.
please mention, or you want me to?
Yeah, go,
Okay.
go, please.
The other thing that Rob has suggested was another possibility is if we get enough sixth graders looking to do travel, that, you know, the other option for us, if the board wanted to include them on travel, is to have a bus just for the sixth graders that maybe go to a different location, but they're traveling. You know, that's something you had suggested, is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, that's just another layer. It's probably, if there's enough sixth graders, it's probably easier to go to the same location.
Yeah.
And just keep them on a separate bus, but,
If
I
you're
mean,
able to.
if
yeah.
we're averaging 20 sixth
Might be
graders,
tough, yeah.
Yeah, but if you do, what if as you're loading up buses, because if they're only on the school bus trip, we're doing two school buses.
We could try to keep the
So
grades.
6, 7.
Sixth graders together.
Oh, God, my kids are gonna laugh if they see this meeting. I just said 6,
If the
7.
board wants to do it, we can try to keep the sixth graders on the same bus.
You may have a huge boon of travel campers, so it may work out better.
From a cost standpoint or from a
Cost
bus
standpoint, that's what we have to think
Well,
about.
I know, and I'm concerned, I think a little bit about the effect on the day camp,
Why?
but I guess it's not really, it's just offering different programs.
Yeah.
So what
the
age do
worst
we
impact-
start, what
the
age
worst
do we
impact-
start the day camp? Rising,
kindergarten.
okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then.
Listen, there might be some sixth graders that have to be in a
Okay,
fifth grade
splits
group or
it,
something.
still it's larger at,
As I said, that's why I said, is the staff fluid, so we're not hurting that.
No, we'd have more travel camp staff,
Yeah, and less day camp staff.
if that was
Right.
the result.
all right,
And
It's-
some sixth graders that choose day camp may be with some fifth graders, you know, if the groups aren't big enough.
yeah.
Right.
All right, and again, this is something we're gonna have to revisit at the end of the season. All right, so based on this, based on the discussion we're just having, what concerns do you have?
The additional cost of a bus.
It wouldn't be. It wouldn't be additional.
If you have enough travel campers from the sixth grade coming up. So we're gonna have to
No, it wouldn't be additional, though.
you're just gonna say, no, we're only getting one bus.
No, they're only on the school bus. Would they
Yeah,
have
they
to
would
worry?
only be
Right.
on the school bus
I
trips.
know, but if you actually get enough.
No, I wouldn't consider that
So
this
what
year.
are they, what are
That
the-
maybe would.
We would have to,
suit
we would have to come up with a number that would
Pay for the
max out
bus.
the two buses,
these-
so.
Max, you need
So
to,
there's total of 88 minus the staff, so that would be the number.
yeah, there would have to be a max. When does registration start?
As soon as we come up with the fees.
Yeah, we start putting it out there, but we start collecting it right away?
I have a question. When did we
Okay, then,
announce
because
the
it's,
fees
the
last
question
year?
People want.
The end of
to start
January.
enrolling.
Right.
The end of January? We didn't, really? I thought we were arguing about the fees much later last year.
No, I think it was the end
Arguing
of
is a
January.
strong
The
word.
the reason I asked that question, you know, and I'm just wondering whether, I mean, because there's not an opportunity to gather more information before we make this decision. This is a tonight decision.
Not without a special meeting.
Not without a special meeting, and I'm away next week, so there's no special, all right. So this is not, you know, because, again, it's a question of if we add in those, I guess if it was 40 and there were 10 on the wait list, that makes it 50. If we get another 20 off of sixth graders, that makes it 70. If you're telling me there's only room on the two school buses
Those are all
for-
possibilities.
for however many, then we still may be getting into wait list territory.
Maybe.
I mean, and
It's
so-
hard to know.
So does it make, so do we give the 7th, 8th, 9th grader, 10th graders a head start on registration? Do we?
We discussed that possibility of you delay the sixth grade registration by a week or something.
You know, do we limit the number of weeks that the sixth graders can sign up for? You know, I'm just throwing out ideas here. I'm trying to find a solution that everyone is
No, I hear
comfortable
you.
with.
Those are all
Why don't you have a sign up with a caveat that says, depending on demand, sixth graders may get less opportunities, you know, first year, just a warning, and then figure out, based on who signs up, what you have to do.
Yeah.
Just a warning that, hey, you're a rising sixth grader, we're trying to make sure there's room, but if there's excessive demand, we reserve the right to,
Like until an extra week? Can I just make a suggestion? There's so many wild cards on this.
Okay.
Why don't we just delay the sixth grade by a week?
Registration.
And this way, people at least have the opportunity at the upper grades to sign up.
All right, then what I would propose, based on what I'm hearing tonight, what I would propose, okay, so this is now going back to the resolution. What I would propose is, for our day camp, we are looking at a 3% increase in the fees in signing up in 1 to 4 weeks.
Round it up to the nearest 5.
Round it up to the nearest 5 with the straight $65 increase for people signing up for 5 and 6 weeks. For the travel camp, we are leaving the proposed fee structure as is in the modified fee. And we are going to allow sixth graders to participate in either the day camp or the travel camp, based on parental discretion, with the caveat that sixth graders will not, the registration for sixth graders will begin 1 week, 2 weeks?
Whatever you think.
A later date.
One
We know, we need to
No, it
specify.
has to
Well,
be
you said
1
1 or
week.
2 weeks. What?
We have to specify.
1 week.
Will delaying sixth graders' potential to sign up for travel camp affect their ability to go back to day camp if they can't get into the travel camp?
I think, no, I don't think
You're
it will,
giving them
because
the option. You're
the,
giving them the option to do
yeah,
either.
because the day camp's not gonna fill.
Okay.
The day camp's not gonna fill, they'll still be able to go to the day camp. What it does, though, is it gives them the option to say, all right, well, this year there aren't that many kids signing up for travel camp. Looks like my sixth grader may be able to go on the coach bus trips. I do want to sign them up. Or, all right, coach bus trips are selling out, but I think, and you know what? No, I'm just gonna nix that right here. I think as part of this, I would want it where the sixth graders are not participating in the coach bus trips
At all?
at all,
Even if there's room?
even if there's room.
No, I don't think that's a good idea.
We have to set expectations.
Yes,
My
but-
concern
but-
is,
But there will always be, if there's any room, you should allow them to go. Why would you nix it
who do you allow to
completely?
go?
It's a lottery system.
But I think to me, it's too troublesome because and that's what also, if there's a wait list, if there's already a wait list on 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th graders, then we know we're getting that registration. I'd say the chances are, I don't want to give the impression, my concern is giving the impression of a parent of a sixth grader signing up their kid, thinking that there's a chance that they could go on the coach bus trips as well. And I don't want to set that expectation this year. I think we need to see how it plays out. So
So what are they doing on those days?
that's a good question. What typically on a waitlisted
They don't come.
camper, they just
show.
wouldn't come to
They
camp
don't
that
come.
day.
There's
But
no
that's-
camp for them.
Yeah, because all the staff needs to be with the travel camp.
So the
So-
sixth graders would not be in any camp, which means you're penalizing the parents because they're not necessarily old enough to just leave them home alone.
Yeah, but you're talking 3 or 4 days during the summer.
No, but the
That can happen
campers,
in 3 or 4 days.
if
A
the
lot
camp,
can happen in
if
3
the
or 4
staff
days. A kid
isn't
can
on the
also be
travel
sick for a
camp with the
day
bus, school buses.
and not be able to
I'm
go
just
on the
talking
trip.
Stay back at the day camp.
As a parent,
What are you talking about?
The staff that oversees the sixth graders. So they'd be
Just
at the
bring
day
them
camp.
over to that
They'd be at the day
day.
camp. Yeah, they'd be at the
On
day
that
camp.
day, at that day, they go to the day camp.
I think you have to have that.
Okay, I'm comfortable with that.
So no coach,
And a counselor, one of the counselors has to be, that's used to having them,
Yeah.
would be the
Whatever the ratio- I
one
mean,
that's
it's-
there. I think that they have to have something to do.
I think we have time to figure this
There's a
out.
lot of logistics that need to
It's a
go
lot of
into that.
logistics, but I think we
The
have
simple
time to
reason
figure
that
it
I
out.
need medical records now for those sixth graders at both camps. So we can figure all that out.
Yeah.
so no coach trips for the sixth graders, and then you don't need, we're not worried about the sign-up time period right?
What if, just throwing something out there, what if on
No,
that,
I'm still
on that
concerned about
particular
the,
day?
the sign,
Keep the
I'm
week
still
later.
concerned about the
What
sign-up
if on
period.
that particular day, the day camp is on a trip that day too?
Well, then we just have to make sure that we're not planning those trips on the same day.
It's going to be coordinated, got to be.
Yeah.
All right, so no,
And
so
I
their
do-
sixth graders won't go on the coach trips, they'll be at the day camps on those days.
And it would still be a 1-week delay in
And
registration.
still 1 week delay in registration.
Rob,
They'll have the option to go to the day
Rob,
camp on those days.
how good are you at Excel spreadsheeting?
I can use Excel, but
I think we
not
have to
great,
utilize.
as Chris can tell you.
The hardest part is the setting up the community pass part for sign up, so they understand which one they're signing up for.
Right.
But that's right, we'll work it out.
Yeah, we'll have to, and I think, yeah, given this, I mean, I think, obviously, we're gonna need some time, Chris, if this is the will of the board and this is the direction we're going, we're gonna need some time also to advertise, like, to make sure that this is understood, like, we'll have to send out emails to the camp community,
Well, I think
And-
we're gonna have that as part of the registration too, we're gonna have that information there.
and we're gonna
that's-
have
the
to have
parents
people
make that
available to
decision.
answer phone calls.
I think it's a really exciting segue to allow them to go on, to sign up for
All right.
camp.
So you want me to summarize a modified resolution?
Capital.
Please.
Okay. Modified resolution is to modify the fee schedule. On the travel camp, it'll be the fees that are recommended on the current resolution. On the day camp, it'll be a 3% increase for anyone who signs up for any of the 1 through 4 weeks, rounded up to the nearest $5. And the 5 and 6 is as recommended. For the,
Wait, we're not increasing the 5 and 6?
No, it is increasing.
Oh, it's
as
increasing.
recommended.
it's recommended, which is an increase.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
The larger increases.
Okay.
In terms of participation for the sixth graders, it's optional for the sixth graders to join the travel camp. And if they do, there's a 1-week delay in the sign-up period, and they would not be allowed to go on the coach buses and would stay at the day camp instead on those days.
Have the option to stay at the, okay.
Yeah, that's up to them if they choose
Yeah.
to do that.
Right.
They choose to do it. Okay. Can I have a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
Questions and concerns?
I'm questioned out and concerned out.
I think he wants to go home.
Trustee Merlino?
Yeah.
No. Questions or concerns?
No, just you're gonna make sure that the older kids are aware that if they don't sign up, right, soon,
And I think, and we'll also make sure, I think it'll alleviate some concerns on the school bus trips that the sixth graders are allowed on, that we try and have that we split it up by age group on the buses.
Well, administratively would do that, yeah.
Administrative. Trustee Crum?
No problem.
Any-
No
any
issues.
questions or
No,
Concerns?
no. I vote yes.
He's agreeing with me.
All right, Trustee Epstein, any questions or concerns?
Bear in mind that no questions, no concerns are on either side of you. But go ahead and say.
No, we have really, I think that we have moved in a direction that the neighborhood wants us to move in, and while preserving the right for those parents that are not ready for that move, I think that we threaded the needle here. That's what I think.
All right. Greg?
Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Crom?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
yes.
And Mayor Klein.
Yes. Thank you. That was a long discussion, and good luck. And thank you for being open to our suggestions and what we're saying. All right, we still have a number of resolutions on our agenda. Resolution number 4, considering awarding contract number 2601, sewer camera jetting.
Okay,
Straight
whereas,
from that to that.
I'm excited.
whereas the Village of Rybrook has solicited bids for contract 2601 sewer camera jetting, and whereas the bid was advertised in the Journal News as the official newspaper on January 6th, and was also made available on our bid system, and whereas at 10 a.m. on February 21st, all bids were received, were opened, and are summarized below. Let's see, we have, hold on one second.
It's like a pressure washer.
It's like 4 forcing the water through.
Because it can't be February 21st. That's why I'm asking. I just have to look at the right date. The date of the bid.
Was the,
I just got to correct the date of the bid.
okay.
Chris, just so that you know, I was thrown off by the word jetting.
We will correct the date of the bid in the final resolution, but it was done within the
One of
last
those
2 weeks.
engines from the plane in there.
And the bid summary is we received a total of 3 bids, one from Arnold, what is it? January 21st, thank you. So that's just corrected to January 21st was the bid opening. The 3 bids were from Arnold Construction of Kingston, New York, in the amount of $40,800, and escalations of 2%, 4%, 6%, and 8%. National Water Main Cleaning Company of Kearney, New Jersey, $52,000, that should read. And that's with 0%, 3%, 3%, and 3%. And Fred Cook Jr. of Montrose, New York, of the amount of $32,350, with increases of 2% in each year. Now therefore be resolved that following the review of the bids by the village administrator and superintendent of public works, the Board of Trustees determined the lowest responsible bidder, meeting the requirements of the contract, as Fred Cook Jr. of Montrose, New York, for a total base bid of $32,350, with 2% annual escalation through June 1st, 2030.
And for
Oh, and be it further resolved, the mayor and administrator can sign and execute any documents necessary to accomplish the purposes of the resolution.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion and second, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
Excellent.
Now that we know what jetting is?
You know what jetting is? You guys need? You guys
Well, I
agree?
know what jetting is,
Okay.
but I wanted to make sure Trustee Heiser.
I still think you're making it up. I really don't think there's such a
Just
thing.
define
definitely-
it for the public.
Yeah.
It's basically clearing blockages and clearing out the lines for our sewers.
So basically, it's like a laxative.
Yes. Well, sure. We'll go with
No,
that.
more of a forceful, pressured.
Bert,
It would kind
Sure.
of be like shoving the
wanna be
hose
there
down
when
your
it
mouth.
I'm not going to be graphic. I'm just trying to summarize.
Great.
Trustee Epstein?
yes.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Crom?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
And Mayor Klein.
Yes, thank you. Resolution number 5, considering setting a public hearing on a proposed local law authorizing a property tax levy in excess of the limit established in General Municipal Law Section 3C for the fiscal year beginning June 1st, 2026.
This is just a heads up, the budgets are coming.
Oh, I know, this is the first
Now
sign,
therefore be
right?
resolved that the public hearing would be held by the board on Tuesday, April 14th, 2026 at 7:30, which will include opportunities for members of the public to provide written or oral comments on the proposed local law authorizing property tax levy in excess of the limit established by General Municipal Law for the fiscal year commencing June 1st, 2026.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
And again, this is just setting the public hearing. Trustee Crum is the only one who hasn't heard me say this for the last 13 years.
No, I heard it. I was around last, well, okay. Yeah,
Not 13.
yeah, not 13, right.
But yes, our hope is that we do not need to enact this law, that this resolution. Our hope is to stay within the tax cap. However, if we find that we need to go through the tax cap, it is our right to do so, as this is a home rule state, and we are tired of unfunded mandates from New York State, whereby they have set these artificial tax caps upon municipalities and school districts, and at the same time have told us what counts towards it and what doesn't count towards it, and at the same time have not provided the relief that they promised that comes along with this. So again, this is just,
Here, here.
So our real hope is that the tax cap goes away.
no, our real hope is that we just stay within it, but it's, no, our real hope is that we get the mandate relief.
Not additional
and-
mandates.
And not additional mandates. We hope that we get the funding and additional AIM funding and
Yes.
other sources from the state like was, and especially
Putting more
directed
burden-
towards the
and not
residents,
putting more burdens
May I
on us.
keep these?
like was promised as part of this legislation.
Mandate relief was supposed to be a part of it.
Yeah, and we have not seen the mandate relief. So again, this is just setting the public hearing, but now I've said my piece, and so Greg.
May I keep these?
Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Crom?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
and Mayor Klein?
Yes, thank you. Resolution number 6, considering approval of the minutes for the meeting held on January 13th, 2026.
Therefore be resolved that the Board of Trustees approves the minutes for the meeting held on January 13th, 2026.
Thank you, Chris. We
comment?
have a motion and a second.
No, yep.
So moved.
And a comment. We need a second.
First, you
He
first.
wants a
motion
comment
second.
first.
Trustee
Yes.
Well,
Heiser.
no, you don't usually have comments until
Okay.
you do a motion in a second.
No, no, but Trustee Heiser was the motion.
Oh, okay.
We need a second.
Okay, I'll second.
Okay, comments, please.
Comment. There's a couple of blanks in the minutes, highlighted in yellow, that need to be filled in. So I think the resolution should say, with the necessary changes for the yellow sections.
Yeah, so from the leaf, yeah.
Yeah, we'll take care of that.
Okay. So do we need a resolution, do we need a motion
No.
second as amended?
As amended, sure.
So, all in favor as amended?
I,
Aye.
Opposed? Administrators report.
One sec. Okay, just have a couple of items I want to mention. As the board is aware, the board has endorsed our intermunicipal airport master plan task force recommendations that were provided. That was the recommendations of the 7 municipalities that participated in that intermunicipal task force. And at a meeting in January, the task force members, as I think Trustee Crom mentioned also at the last meeting, they went to the Westchester County Airport Advisory Board, which is held at the county airport, to present their reports as the county had requested that we do as the next step. And at that meeting, the advisory board, the airport advisory board, said that they would consider the resolution or consider support of their recommendations at the meeting, their next meeting, which is going to be held Wednesday, February 11th. So tomorrow, long story short, tomorrow, the Westchester County Airport Advisory Board at 7 p.m. at the county airport is going to be holding a meeting where we hope that they will endorse the recommendations of the intermunicipal task force. A lot of work went into that. They seemed to be very receptive of supporting most of the conditions in that report, and we're hoping they'll take action on that tomorrow night. So we did send an email to the community as well. We urge residents to attend either in person, parking will get validated, or virtually, and we sent the link where that information can be found. But showing their support and interest on this issue is very important to make sure the county is aware of the concerns of the local communities that are near the airport. Second, President's Day is next Monday, February 16th, so village offices will be closed, and also we'll operate on a holiday schedule for sanitation purposes. And lastly, I just want to mention our progress that we've made. We have made progress on the joint study of the traffic, parking, and pedestrian activity near the Portchester Middle School and the high school. That's the joint study with the village and the Portchester School District. And we're going to be sending an email to the community tomorrow where we ask the community to give comments on a survey that's been prepared by our consultant, by the joint consultant, to get feedback on what kind of things people are experiencing in and around that area. That same survey is also being completed by Portchester students and parents in that area. And the next step is also to get feedback from the Rye Ridge Shopping Center. They've already gotten all the traffic data from the village and their own traffic count collections in the field. So now the next step will be to get the remainder of the information and hopefully narrow down some specific recommendations. There was some preliminary discussion about that at the last meeting, and that's going to continue, and especially once all the information's been collected. That's all I have for tonight.
Thank you, Chris. And I would like to thank Trustee Crom. I'd like to thank Peter Schlakis, anyone else who's been involved in our airport advisory board and committee,
John Mungo.
John Mugno, going to these meetings, participating. Like to thank all of the municipalities that participated in this. It did seem I did participate in the last meeting virtually, and it seemed like the airport advisory board was open to what the municipalities had brought, and so we're thankful for that and hoping that they will pass that tomorrow night.
If I could just add on, thanks to Greg Rivera from my office, who did a lot of the coordination for those meetings and has also attended those as well. So my appreciation to Greg for all your hard work.
Yeah. And yeah, I hope everyone is staying warm, staying safe in these icy, cold weathers.
We're getting a lot of pipe breaks right
We
now,
are
unfortunately.
we are
A lot of
getting a
homes are
lot.
getting water in their homes from broken pipes, so unfortunately that tends to happen after these deep freezes.
I actually have one question, one statement. Many of the residents have applauded our Department of Public Works guys. So I want to commend them because they did an amazing job with an inordinate amount of snow. So thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And again, you know, the conditions are still projected to be cold for a while, not as cold, but I don't know whether we'll get another one of those deep freezes. But please keep, you know, your eyes on your neighbors as well.
Just to piggyback on what Susan said, the streets were passable almost instantly, thanks to our crews.
I hope you weren't trying that, though.
They did a great job. You're
They
absolutely
really-
right.
they really
No,
did.
I
And
Incredible.
we thanked them at the last meeting as well, so.
Oh, I wasn't here,
Yeah.
so sorry.
So no, we very much appreciate
I
what
don't
they're
think you can
doing.
thank them too often.
No, you're right.
So the next meetings of the Board of Trustees will be February 24th and March 10th, 2026. Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great vacation.